Okay. That's not what I need. Make sure the mic is working. Yep, mic's right. We should be good. Alright. Hello, everybody. Welcome, one and all. We are starting with the 21 Duels Spring Single. Now, the way these things usually work, they're tournaments run by Gent periodically that always have a unique set of rules. This time, there's a group of challengers, each with 4 lives, and they've got to go up against a series of bosses. The bosses each have their own deck restrictions. Oh, so do the challengers, actually. So, the first boss is going to be Snake. The first challenger is going to be Heartseed. Now, both of them have to pick one of these 3 decks. They're going to be playing on a map with campfires set to plentiful. And they have to pick one of those decks. In fact, I should probably just create that before I forget. Oh, what am I doing? No, I don't have to create it. We're not doing it live. It's replays. I'm a dummy. Where are they? All the way down here. So we start with Heartseed. They've got Squirrel, Skunk, Owl, Mine, Lizard, Skunk, Fox, Machine Gun, and Toad, Cam, Badger, Balloon. I helped test out some of these decks. They are a lot more balanced than they look at first glance. Now, I'm going to stick the link into the chat in case people want to see, so I don't have to keep jumping back and forth during the game. I'm going to pop open a beer. And then let's get started with game 1. Okay. To the spring single. Alright. So we got Lizard, Skunk, Fox, Machine Gun against Toad, Cam, Badger, Balloon. Right, so the way these decks work is that the tier 1 works in a rock, paper, scissors, and the tier 3 works in a rock, paper, scissors, but they're both going the opposite way. So Toad hard counters Lizard, but Fox hard counters Badger. Now, it used to be Skunks in the Badger deck as well, but we had to change that because you could just forward settle the Badger player and they couldn't do anything about it. Speaking of forward settling, Snake is starting with a double Lizard Rush. Now, Heartseed gets 2 attempts. Every challenger starts with 4 lives, but if they lose 2 on the second boss, they immediately proceed. So you've essentially got 2 ways of going forward. You either beat the boss, or you die twice. Snake picks off a farm there, nice and quick. Goes back and sells a Lizard Warren, and is trying to turret up against the possible Toad counterattack. Here they come. Toads on building farms. Now, I was about to say aggressive toads don't work, but they kind of just did. I wonder if any of the challengers have been practicing with their special decks. Well, yes, there's also a score system. Dying twice isn't good, but it does let you move on to the next boss. Obviously, with 4 lives, dying twice is a trick you can only play once. Okay, Heartseed trying to go up to Cams. He's trading inefficiently against these toads, against these lizards. Since his multiple toads keep running into singular lizards. When there's so few tier 1 on your opponent's side, it's actually quite hard to get decent toad hits. Okay, now, I think in a player matchup, Heartseed is a stronger player than Snake. But the interesting thing about this is that players' individual strengths might not matter as much as they usually would, given that they're playing with all these unique rule sets and quirky decks. You know, Heartseed might be better in a normal game of Tooth and Tail where you've got 6 units, but how's he going to do in this forced selection game with only 4? Okay, now Heartseed's got his cams up. He's sending all his toads into the skunk, but then his cams get distracted by the tier 1 Warren. That, I don't think, is what Heartseed wanted to happen. He sent 2 cams and 6 toads at 1 skunk. Not a great trade. Now, getting up to 4 cams is going to be pretty powerful for him. At the very least. It looks like he wants to put a badger down. And this matchup, getting up to a tier 3 first, can be a very powerful thing. The cams give this deck from Heartseed a lot of consistency and power. They can walk through most things in Snake's deck pretty efficiently. Another reason why we had to add the cams to the Badger deck was because once a Fox got out for the Fox player, it was just game over. It was nearly impossible for the Badger player to do anything about it because they have no real counter. Okay, but finally we see expansions from both players. Although Snake is definitely in the lead at this point, Heartseed might be able to just make something big happen with this Badger if he gets it up. Badger doesn't have any healing, no pigeons, but there's going to be a limited amount of damage, and it doesn't have to deal with any snakes other than, you know, the one controlling. These cams trading quite efficiently, but they are dying. Heartseed trying to get that last cam onto the skunk. The Badger's about to come out. Snake is going for the Warren, but he's not going to get it. Okay. He finished off the Warren. There's no water on this map either, apart from like this stuff that's locked in. So there's no easy way to heal units. Heartseed is 2 farms behind, but I mean, once he starts to fallow, he'll catch up. I think he maybe is being a bit aggressive here. I think this Badger would probably get overwhelmed by all these lizards. But Snake is trying to go for a base race. Heartseed's coming back though. He's already got 1 chameleon close. Okay, Snake gets 1. I don't think he... Does Snake know? Snake doesn't know about the expansion. Oh, that's really bad for Snake. He's now got a maximum of 9 lizards. His mill is going to die. He doesn't have enough anymore to burst down the Badger. I wonder if he could have actually won a straight fight. Okay, Snake loses his expansion. He's trying to build up whatever units he can, but he's stuck with this. And I mean, Heartsy could just go for the attack, but I don't think he knows that. He doesn't know, like, that Snake doesn't have any other mills around here. And Snake is going to take that mill. He has to. Now, there's no way around the back here for Snake to get in on this mill. So Snake has to go through, which is going to be difficult for him. No, run past the Badger. Run past the Badger. Oh, he's looped it. He's given it the loop. But it's only 4 lizards making it through. He can pick off the pigs, but he can't pick off the mill. Pick off the pigs. Force him to force your opponent to start selling warrens. Like, you're clearly not going to kill the mill with 4. Shame. Snake was doing really well. He was actually in the lead for most of this, and then he got... the Badger came up at just the right time. Plus, he didn't have a base raceable map. And I think he did play it wrong. I think he could have taken... I think he should have just jumped on the Badger with his larger lizard army than try and go for this base race idea. Now, if I'm correct, the challengers only need to win once. I might just check that. Yes. Well, it's once for these bosses. Some of the other bosses are... the final boss and the special boss require extra beating. Alright. Now, we don't have stage 2 of Heartseed. So I guess we just go on to Cholera. We also don't have stage 2 of. But then we've got stage... no, because then we've got Petrol. Okay, so then we go on to Petrol, and then we've got stage 1 and stage 2. Alright, so let me just update this. Okay, so we got Cholera sticking with the same deck as Heartseed, the Toad, Cam, Badger Balloon, and Snake. Running Squirrel, Skunk, Owl, Mine. And like I said before, you can see how the rock, paper, scissors works, where the Squirrels, they counter the Toads, and the Owl gets hard countered by the Badger in return. Although, Squirrels countering Toads is a lot... Squirrels are a lot less of a Toad counter than they used to be, now that Toads have had their speed buffed. Got a lot less time to focus fire the Toads, and you can't kite them anymore. Now, map wise, seems like a pretty Snake favoured map. All of these mills down here. I mean, Cholera can probably take these two, so it's going to be 3 to 4. There's campfires everywhere. Snake definitely has the advantage, I think. Can get up to a higher eco, but a lot of it is going to depend on the amount of map control people can establish. But realistically, I think Cholera expands maybe up to this campfire. He's dotting these mines around the map just for scouting purposes, but Cholera is just going straight up to 4 cams, which Snake hasn't seen. Ironic. He spent so much time on these scouting mines that he hasn't actually scouted his opponent. Now, if the players have studied the rules, which they should have, then they should know what deck their opponent is running after they've seen one unit. The only exception is the Skunks, because they're the only unit that's in 2 decks, but Collaroo should know Snake is running the Squirrel Owl deck, and Snake should know that Collaroo is running the Toad Badger deck. And this is going to be brutal. Collaroo has timed this well. He's checking for mines. There's 1 squirrel and 4 pigs to take out these cams. The cams aren't really bothered by the tiny pistols either, and they clear up 4 farms. This is pretty brutal. Finally the cams go down. One of them might even get away. Oh no, he doesn't get away, but he takes an extra farm with him. That's a huge win for Collaroo. It is going to be so hard for Snake to come back from this, and Collaroo knows it. It's slamming down 2 badgers. He rethinks that and sells one of them. Probably a misclick, but it's hard to tell with Collaroo. Alright, Snake going back in. He sees the badger Warren. But his only real answer to a badger is to spam squirrel. And that's hard for him to do when he's already under pressure from cams. Plus he has no real answer to the cam badger combo other than just loads of mines. Okay, he is taking down the chameleons, some of them at least. And Collaroo has gone for that second badger. There's no real need for Collaroo to push straight away. Okay, is this mine doing its job? For Snake, it is. He knows that Collaroo's expanding. I think if you're Snake, you maybe sell the Skunks and just put down more squirrels. We've got the sacrificial toads coming in to do the mine sweeping. This ain't good for Snake. He really wants to be there to micro his army. The toads, well, the mines get some alright shots, but they do mainly blow up on toads and already dying units. The badger is very injured. The cams go down, but they still get 2 farms. Is Collaroo vulnerable to a counterattack right now? He is. He's only got 1 badger at 7 health. He's going to lose this forward mill. Probably. He's coming back in. He gets a nice toad hit. The badger gets away again. He's going to stick it in the water and heal it. Nope, he's going to walk it through the water. You've got some water in friendly territory. You probably want to put the badger in there and heal. Badger's up to a whopping 12, 13. Okay, it is in the water, getting some healing. Having a nice relaxing bath. 20 HP. It's not a huge amount, but there is a second backup badger. Snake is actually using the terrain quite well. He's got a lot of choke points here. That between the mines, the squirrels and the skunks, he can hold fairly efficiently. Now, Collaroo does have decent map control now. Oh, and Snake's moving out. One of the badgers goes down. But it takes a lot of units with it. I really think it might be worth... Okay, selling the owl is a good call. There's no point to get that up. That would just give the badgers free rev. Oh, and is Snake trying to go for a base race here, or... I don't think he should. He could probably hold against this army. I don't think he wins a base race either. He does know about this base, right? Yeah, he does. But he can't afford to buy a base. And he walks into 2 cams, which cause a lot of havoc for his army. Oh, and into a second badger, which just casually picks off his entire army without even stopping. Oh, the brace trades not working out for Snake tonight. Alright. Moving on to Petrol. Petrol. Who is for some reason called Wylandstan 2012. And Snake. Okay, it's a matchup we've seen before. Toad Badger versus Lizard Fox, but this time Snake is running the Toad. Heck. He's also running Hopper. He's changed his colour. Okay. Now, this is actually... we haven't seen much of the balloons so far, but this might be a map where they can make some stuff happen. Snake expands up to here and then starts putting balloons down. He could, like, put a lot of pressure on these 2 mills and shut Petrol into just these 2. And maybe this one on the corner. FYI, I am very, very sleepy. Okay. Snake bringing his cams round. Petrol tries to go in the front, but just walks into Toads, and this is an oddly placed skunk warren, but it's going to get caught out. I don't know who Wieland Stan is. I imagine he's a newer player. But, I mean, his broad strokes isn't terrible. Getting this forward base and setting it up with machine guns is kind of what he needs to do. He needs to get a decent foothold on this map. I'd like it if he sold... Oh, he never actually put that 8th farm down. I'd like it if he sold this back machine gun, but it actually might be serving some use in case Snake comes around with the lizards again. What's really bothering me is a seemingly random Warren placement. Okay, here comes the balloon. Heartseed won. Heartseed and Colliery both won in their first games. But it looks like Snake might take a game off Petrol. Like, Mass Cam is just pretty hard to stop. You really need to get up to the tier 3 to do something about it, because the tier 1 just gets eaten alive. Hey, man. Alright, Petrol looking for an angle. That's not the angle he wants. That's so many toads for Snake. Yeah, Wheeland's Petrol, he needs to be putting his Warrens in more protected positions. So many, like these Warrens out here, they're not being protected by the pigs or by the machine guns. Or by his army. It's cost him quite a bit of food. And Snake runs all those toads into the mill and takes a game, takes a life from dear sweet Petrol. First wound of the series. The classic jihad strat. Alright. Snake sticking with the toad badger. Petrol changing to the squirrel owl. Now, for this to work, he's going to need to get an advantage in the early game. And it looks like he's trying to go for a rush. 5 farm squirrel, but he's supply blocked himself with the 2 mines and the farm. Plus, rushes, given that campfires are set to plentiful, rushes struggle a lot more. Especially with squirrels. Because there's so many campfires around that can pick off tier 1. At least with lizards you can run past them fairly quickly. But the squirrels can't. Squirrels have to knock them down. So, I mean, Snake is just going to get so far ahead economically here. Going straight up to tier 2 before he's got his 7th farm down. But he's not actually getting ahead because Snake is, with these 2 farms, he's able to afford to go straight up to his own tier 2. In fact, he's actually ahead now. As Petrol skunks are supply blocked. He needs to sell a tier 1 Warren. He should honestly sell both. Has he actually scouted? He has. If he knows his opponent has toads, you should know that your opponent isn't pushing in. So you can basically sell your tier 1 and go straight up to tier 2. doing a lot of tanking. Snake bringing his cam around the side. But whoa! Petrol don't think he knew how injured that cam was there. It clearly must have taken a mine hit because it came decloaked, injured. But Petrol could just be pushing now. Or, you know, he could have built some momentum there. Snake is going straight for the Badger. The Toad hits the campfire but doesn't actually kill it. I'm worried for Petrol here because he's doing well, but it looks like he's going to get run over by the Badger when it comes up. Because he's not being particularly aggressive. And he's only just got, with this campfire, he's only just got up to 8 farms. At the, like, 4-minute mark almost. That's a very forward Warren. Not to mention it's from an owl that gets hard counted. I think Petrol has... I think Petrol just doesn't notice. Or maybe he does, because this is the same farm he left untaken last game. Maybe it's like a starvation farm for him. But you don't want to be leaving starvation farms on your first mill. If you get to starvation on your first mill, then something's gone drastically wrong. You know, putting a starvation farm on your first mill is like getting fire insurance on a nuclear bomb. Like, if you ever need it, something has gone. You've got bigger problems. Alright. Can this Badger get burst down? Petrol is not microing at all. And he needs to sell this forward Warren. I don't know why he didn't sell it. He's not selling anything. This Badger does so much damage. It is pretty injured, but it's got this heal. It's got this water and friendly territory that it can go and heal on. And now Snake is just building up toads. I imagine Petrol is pretty new because he doesn't seem to know about the selling mechanic in this game. And I can't tell if this is deliberate or not, because usually if there's a farm that people forget on their main base, it's the one behind the mill in that top corner there. So you can just fix that by checking your mini-map. But this one isn't really hidden by the mill, so you wouldn't expect Petrol to forget it. Alright, toads go around. They just go straight onto the mill. I mean, you love to see it, but maybe not to a poor naive fawn such as Petrol. Yeah, the mines are actually doing... Every time the squirrel deck has come out, the mines have actually been really huge. At least against the Badger deck, because between the toads and the cams, it's actually very hard for the Badger deck to clear them out. The only thing that can really shoot them without getting hit in return is the Badger, which means putting your most valuable unit on the front line. And it's also the unit that suffers the most from being hit by multi-mines. So you don't want to be moving it forward. So it seems like, unfortunately, Petrol goes down to 2 lives now. He does get to progress, but going forward with only half the lives of Heartseed and Cholera. Shame. I think he could have had at least one of those games. Because, like I was saying before I went off topic, the mines seem to actually be doing pretty pretty well against that Badger deck. Now, from here, I think we'll do stage 1 and then stage 2. Go by player rather than stage. Alright, here we go. Snake versus R22. Squirrel, Skunk, Owl Mine against Squirrel, Skunk, Owl Mine. So it's a mirror match. Okay, so who has a deck that can get out the most owls? Probably R22. Like, it's easier for him to take these mills because they're not over the water or behind the campfire. But it's not certain. There's not actually much water. Snake could come down and get these. But I think it will be easier R22. Although it's slightly harder for R22 to get his 2 original expansions, given that Snakes are much closer and tighter packed. R22s should be safe given how far away they are from Snake, but they are pretty spread out. Yeah, so this fight, this match should really come down to micro. And the decision making of both players. Yep. Who gets the first down is going to be big. Do I have a jumper nearby? It's suddenly got very, very cold very, very quickly. Yeah, I guess that's right. You can hold off 1 owl for a bit with just a skunk squirrel, so really you want the eco lead. Okay, first owl down. R22. Snake going up to 6 skunks though. But R22 is also ahead economically. Oh, a second owl from R22. There's Snake's own set of owls. I haven't scouted either of the ones from his opponent. But with this many skunks, he should be fine. He can also sell these back mines. This one isn't actually his, but these give him a 60 food. Okay. He's found the owls. R22 found his. There's a third owl coming out. R22 getting to his own set of 6 skunks, plus with tier 1 behind it. And the third owl for Snake, but Snake is now supply blocked. Probably needs to sell a skunk warren. He sells his farms instead. Sell your back mines. The owls are paid for. But no squirrels. I mean, the squirrels could make a big difference here. Probably not with just 6 of them. But having some sort of quick damage is going to be important. And where did these farms go? When did I miss that? What happened? Oh, did they get blown up by mines? Because I didn't see an attack. Okay, this is why you need squirrels. Because the skunk gas takes so long to kill the mice that the mice are still going to get some damage done. Okay, R22 is so far ahead here. He's keeping... Snake is keeping even on the mouse count, but with the lack of eco behind it, he's a pretty significant deficit. Although he is winning this fight, strangely enough. See if he can get some eco damage done. That's 1 farm, that's 2 farms. That's 3. I'm not entirely sure why or how Snake won that fight, but I mean, he has. Although I don't think he should have left his army right here. At the very least, he should have left it in the water. Well, R22 is still ahead economically, but that does even things up a lot. Although R22 has still had... I'm still going to have more capital because he's been ahead for so long. Maybe R22 was kiting his skunks too much. Okay, this is a problem for Snake. He just lost all his mice, and R22 did not. Which means R22 is going to come in and get a huge amount of damage done. Okay, skunk going down for both players. Farms going down for Snake. Nothing can shoot up here, so these owls are going to be fine. They've taken a few scratches from pigs. R22 going up to 6 owls, and that is actually going to take him ahead of Snake, who is just putting 6 down now, but R22's 6 is already paid for. He's also ahead on the skunks. This is all just the eco starting to pay off. I mean, really, when Snake had the advantage here, he needed to keep pushing. He needed to get, like, most of this mill dead. Also, okay, the owls now that R22 has the better owl count, the mice just get overwhelmed by Snake. Sorry, Snake's mice get overwhelmed, which gives R22 a timing to come in and counter and get some proper damage done. That said, a lot of these skunks for R22 are pretty low. But, I mean, low health is better than no health, which is what Snake skunks are like at the moment. There's still so many mice on the field. Got R22 coming in, picking off these pigs. They're probably going to get the mill. Snake taps out. He's not willing to put up with all of this. Okay, and R22 goes through. A base race would have been interesting. Maybe the third time Snake tried it, it would have worked. Okay, now instead of going straight on to Child, we're going to go to stage 2 with R22. Oh shit, I should have actually checked the rules for this, because this is the first time we're going on. So you can see the rules here are pretty simple. Deck size is 9, toads are banned. Is that the New Zealand flag for Kid? Or is that Australia? I don't know. Alright. I know, it's still R22 and still 4 lives. Alright. Okay, so we've got big breath for this. Squirrel, lizard, falcon, skunk, snake, badger, owl, wolf, wire against squirrel, pigeon, skunk, snake, badger, owl, wolf, wire, balloon. Ugh. Surprised Kid is the only one who brought lizards. You'd think with toads being banned, lizards would be genuinely kind of overpowered. But they... I suppose with 9 units, you can take a lot of anti-tier 1 and a lot of defences. I apologise. I should really mute that. Micro is going to be such a big thing, yeah. Trying to deal with all these units at once. Okay, Kid going for a 4-farm double. Double lizard rush. R22 just wiring up. Kid gets round, but the detour lets a few extra shots get on his lizards, and he's now 3 lizards down for 1 pig, which is not advantageous. He's not given up though, but now a squirrel is up. He gets another pig, but he loses another 3 lizards. This isn't a great base to rush, because there's no other way into it other than this one path. And you can bet with this many units, your opponent has almost certainly got at least 1 defensive structure. Man, with all these units, and is this really going to end with just squirrels versus lizards? I mean, Kid is pretty far behind right now. No, not close to equal value. I mean, R22 killed 3 lizards per farm and was at least 1 farm ahead through all of that. He was like 2 or 3 farms ahead at one point, and then he ended at 1 farm ahead, so he still made a net profit. Okay, Kid trying to come in where he can. He needs to be very careful though if he just loses these lizards, which he probably will, because there's no way for him to run away if he gets stuck in here. That's my beer bag so far away. Okay, R22 with the first expansion. While I was leaning over to get a beer though, 3 farms got picked off. Now Kid just needs to survive the counterattack, but on this bigger map, that counterattack's taken a while, and Kid's already up to a point where I think he can hold. What an awkward time. I look away for just a few seconds. I just leant over to get a drink. This smells so weird. Mexico. Does this have tequila in it? Smells tequila-y. Alright, so both players are just right up against each other here. And who's gonna... R22 can put some balloons down, maybe. But against just raw tier 1, that's not going to exert much pressure. R22 is teching up with the skunks. The kid's bringing his lizards around, but he can't afford to lose all his lizards on attack here. Oh, but he's losing all his lizards because he just left them there. What was he thinking? He just left the lizards in R22. I mean, they were on the border, but you've got to you've got to babysit your army when you're this close up against each other. Okay, he picks off. Oh, he picks off skunk. The kid's down so many farms now. He's already behind. Ooh, this is looking real bad for the kid. R22 feels comfortable enough to go for a tier 3. Wolf, I don't think it's the one I'd go for. I think I'd just go for a badger or an owl and finish my opponent off, but I mean, a tier 3 is a tier 3. The wolf is going to be good in the long game. I just don't think this goes to a long game at this point. I know he wanted to get the flank, but leaving your army here is such a risky maneuver. And he could have pulled them back. His commander was standing here, so once he heard them getting shot, he needed to hold the rally button and drag them back home. I think really what Kid needs to do is just push through the wire. I like to say that the greatest strength and weakness of barbed wire is that both players always overestimate it. I think Kid genuinely could have just pushed through this wire. Got some damage done. Not a great matchup for Lizard, no. And the 4-farm aggression didn't work. I mean, he tried to push through the wire, but that was not a great place to do it. And R22 survives the first 2 bosses with all his lives intact. He goes on to face Epicosity, is it? No, it's Daffy, then Epicosity. Alright. Okay, so we're going back to stage 1 briefly to see how the child does. This will be interesting. Okay. So Snake with the Toad Cam Badger Balloon and Child with the Squirrel Skunk Owl Mine. Now this would be interesting because Child, for anyone who didn't know, because Child is kind of an old player who doesn't do ranked as much anymore. Does it occasionally, but not as much as you used to. Child was infamous for his aggression. If you think Meek is aggressive, oh boy, you should have seen Child in his heyday. I showed off not too long ago the 10-minute early game I had with Child, where neither of us got up to 8 farms on our mills in a 12-minute game. That is not atypical of a game against Child. So he's trying to do a rush here. It's not working out brilliantly. The Toads are holding off fair enough. Child is still trying to kite them. I mean, actually, he's got the road speed boost, and the Toads don't. So maybe kiting them is probably more viable. I was going to say Child playing like it's the old days, where the strategy was to kite Toads, but you actually can do that on roads, because Toads, I mean, their speed boost was mostly a buff, but the one nerf they got was they don't get the road benefit anymore. And Child finally got farm. If he can pick off these Warrens, he needs to. Okay, that's one Warren down. He can basically ignore the farms for a while and just try and focus down the Warrens. Okay, now this is going to be difficult for only 2 Toads to manage. Like, Snake is going up to tier 2 as well, which means he's going to really struggle against this aggression. Child has finally, after nearly 3 minutes, this 4-farm double has started to work. And this is classic Child. It's just to keep up the brainless aggression past the point where your opponent assumes you must have given up, because no sensible person would still be going for the aggro at this point. But no, he's just blitzkrieging, and I mean, Child's Commander going down there just saves Snake's bacon, literally and figuratively. Snake is still in this. He let the squirrels still started shooting at the mill. They didn't focus fire the pigs. The cams got up in time, and Snake is still competitive on economy. And Child is going to push into these 6 cams with his these 2 cams with his 6 squirrels, because that's the sort of player he is. Andy Nugent once said, "I never pull out." That sounds dirty. Might want to phrase that better. Alright, Child gets more farms. Gets another cam. He's still not up to 8 farms, by the way. He's only just queued up his 7th. This is what Child games are like. But this looks like it's finally too much. Child is going to push through. Just by constantly clicking on his enemy's base, he finally breaks through. Oh boy, that made me feel nostalgic. I gotta say. That was some classic Child right there. And that means we get to go to stage 2. No toads, 9 units. Squirrel, lizard, falcon, owl, wolf, fox, wire, machine gun, balloon for the kid. And squirrel, lizard, pigeon, mole, falcon, skunk, ham, snake, owl for the child. The kid versus the child. I believe last time they fought, the child won. But they were under a very different rule set. And child not taking any defenses, as this is MO. Oh, and this mole rush could actually work out very well. There's a warren and 2 farms right here. Okay, I think the kid got the cell there. Still, I think that's a productive mole rush. That's 20 food for 60. 25 since you lose the warren health. Alien. 4. Okay, is Child going to eco up? He is ecoing up. Child is actually more eco than his opponent for a brief, fleeting moment. Okay. I just noticed that this mill is almost impossible for both players to reach. This is such a troll mill because it's clearly meant to be for the kids by, like, the algorithm. But to get to it, he has to go all the way up here, round, back through the water, past the campfire, and then he can finally get it. I mean, that's not too hard for his commander to do once. And then Child, well, Child can actually attack it with moles. He can just come back here, put down some moles, and then run straight in. So it's not actually even that safe a mill. It's safe from a forward assault, but it's got no protection against a rear assault. I should have made a command for the rules to this tournament. That would have been smart. I'll do that next time, if I can remember. Which, I'll be honest, I probably won't. Alright, Child comes in, but he runs into a chameleon and a machine gun. Trying to club your way through machine guns has very, very rarely worked. The Zulus managed to do it once or twice, and I think there were a few Maori examples where it happened. But in general, it's a pretty overwhelming advantage towards the machine gun. I remember there was a story of this, like, there was this tribe, but I don't remember where it was, either in Africa or like Polynesia, where they had this sacred, where they worshipped chairs, and the ambassador of Britain said that as the tribe was now ruled by Queen Victoria owned the chair. And the tribe was like, yeah, that makes sense. So, as the highest ranking representative of Queen Victoria here, bring me the chair and I will sit on it. And that was apparently a massive taboo. Like, they had these, the whole point of this sacred chair was that you weren't allowed to sit on it. No one was allowed to sit on it. And so That provoked a massive revolt, which led to like 100,000 natives dying, and I think even like a few thousand British troops, because they were just so goddamn dedicated to not letting people sit on this chair. I should really not tell stories where I can only remember about half the information. But I think if you Google, like, the War of the Stool or something, it comes up. War of the Golden Stool, yep. Between the United Kingdom and the Ashanti Empire, an autonomous state in West Africa. Oh, I got the numbers way wrong. It was only 1,000. It was only single digits thousands. 1,000 for the British, 2,000 for the natives, which is still a pretty good trade for the natives, all things considered. And a lot of people to die over a stool. Doesn't even look like a comfortable chair, quite frankly. Anyway, the reason I went off on that tangent was because both players are just kind of equaling up, which means Child is probably going to lose. Child can't really handle games where he can't constantly attack, but even he's not stupid enough to tack into all of this wire machine guns and snipers. So now we're getting into an LVL fight, but the kid has more tier 3s, and he's got up on eco faster, because Child really doesn't know how to be greedy. Like, genuinely, he can't pull it off. Like, the only way Child knows how to fight is to just run at his opponent full tilt. And he's very good at running at his opponent full tilt. Case in point, he is starting to break through, getting all these defenses down. So he should probably turn around. Actually, is he going to get the mill? Like, this mole crit, holy crud. When's the last time I ever said crud? Why did I say crud? Self-censorship, so I can upload this to YouTube and get monetized, I guess. But, I mean, Child is actually pushing through pretty... He's got all the defense, he got the mill, he got the wolf. I think he might be overextending, but he's almost close to getting the owl as well. A 1 health owl. He needs to be careful he doesn't lose his. I am kind of befuddled as to how exactly that worked. I guess because the kid didn't have his owls up yet, and he didn't really have anything good against mass tier 1. Yeah, kid has no skunks or cams. I guess the wire machine gun is sort of anti-tier 1. The Fox is sort of the worst possible unit you could have right now. How the hell did this happen? Like, Child wasn't even ahead on army. he just won somehow. Was it the moles? Like the structure crit? Putting in huge work? I genuinely don't know how that happened. Just... It's like when you see someone say... I've had a couple of experiences where... I had an experience once where someone bet that they could punch through a wooden door. And, I mean, even he clearly didn't think he could really do it. We were just kids joking around. But we convinced him to try because we thought it'd be funny. And, you know, his male ego made him susceptible to goading. But then the fucker actually did it. Actually put a hole through the door. And I feel like what I just witnessed was a very similar scenario. I don't think that was supposed to work as well as it did. But the child makes it through with all his lives intact. And we move on from the child to this guy. I guess the fox, like, really inflated how big the kid's army was, because the fox really wasn't very useful. In a situation with that much tier 1 and the cams. Well, puzzle for another time. Here we go. We got Toad Cam Badger Balloon against Toad Cam Badger Balloon. We got the mirror match. I wish we could have made a special deck for this guy with moles as the only tier 1. Okay, now this guy, he doesn't really play ranked anymore. And he doesn't really do many tournaments either, so he's probably pretty rusty, but in his heyday, he was probably far and away the best player in the game. Like, this guy meta was, he was fucking terrifying. I mean, there's a reason it was called the this guy meta. People wanted skunks banned almost purely off the back of the way this guy used them. The mole nerfs came through almost entirely because this guy just made them too obscenely powerful. Like, he had a big impact on the way the game was played. But ever since then, he's kind of just been memeing around, not taking things incredibly seriously. But in a tournament like this, having some practice with memes can kind of be an advantage. Because this guy has definitely played proper games with Toad only tier 1s and with doing cam rush shenanigans. Like, see there? Like, he microed his cam to attack there, and then he made sure Snake saw him microing over here. But all he did was he switched his unit. He changed to a unit that he didn't have, so he could fake micro. Because Lucas actually practices this sort of bullshit. And now Snake is really on the back foot. He's managed to keep his eco even. Just about, but he's so far behind in army, I don't know if he'll be able to do it for long. I mean, this guy actually semi-seriously does cam openers. Alright. Okay, all the toads crash into each other. The cams get a pick off, but with the pig shooting, this is going to be a big advantage to Snake. And indeed it is. This guy loses an extra couple of chameleons. But he does have the badger building in the background. He's more or less just stalling for time until that gets up. Because Snake hasn't been able to micro in a while, since he's so scared of this guy constantly coming in with some bullshit. I don't remember if I put this guy as my ace. I was definitely considering it. I think I went for Tatanka. Like, obviously I was thinking of like Araloo or Melvin or Meek, but I didn't want to pick someone that everyone would pick. Alright, this guy has got his badger up. Now he doesn't really have... He's only got the badger to shoot the balloon. He kind of needs to focus fire that down. This guy also has pretty solid badger micro. And Snake put his own badger down, but it's now completely supply blocked on it. This guy just letting his badger have a nice relaxing spa day. Honestly, Kolaroo is a bit of a dark horse, but depending on how much he's been practicing, I could see it happening. Because, like I said, these aren't normal games. Who's the best conventional player isn't really the only factor. So, someone like Araloo, who's very, very good at convention, like has a very strong one deck that he plays and he just does the meta to perfection, might actually really underperform in a tournament like this where the regular meta goes out the window. Oh, this guy loses his badger. But honestly, he might have just done that on purpose. I hope he didn't, because Snake has his badger up now, and there's definitely a possibility that Snake manages to overwhelm Snowball through. But no, the badger goes down again. The balloon and the cams just do so much damage. So yeah, Kolaroo might be... Kolaroo used to be the meme player. He used to main random. So it wouldn't actually surprise me this much if Kolaroo went pretty far. And I just realised this is the last game. Holy shit, I barely talked about Lucas winning that. But we're already at the last game for tonight. What is the Meek stage? Oh, it's just no tier 3s other than Badger. Huh. Alright. Well, let's see how it goes. This guy versus Kid. Honestly, I'm hoping I should do well in this. I know I'm not the most consistent player, but I do think that I am pretty versatile. And part of the reason for my lack of consistency is because I do tend to get bored and meme around a bit. Or, you know, just try and make shit that obviously won't work. Anyway, yeah, there are other 21 streams scheduled for later in the week. I think at the moment it is Where is it? Tandorco on Thursday, and then I'll be doing it again on Friday. Oh, actually, I've been sent some new This Guy games. Let's have a looky-loo. This is the least productive way of doing this. No, not that, you fucking dum-dum. I hope I'm not missing anything important right now. Fuck off, Internet Explorer. Anyway, I should probably look at this. What are the tier 3? Both players have triple tier 3s. Badger, Owl, Wolf against Squirrel, Wolf, Fox. Both have the same 3 defensive structures. Early game is Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon against Squirrel, Pigeon, Skunk. I think the kid actually has a better deck composition. I think Owl, Wolf, Fox loses to Badger, Owl, Wolf, because the mice tank a lot of the Fox shots. And the Owl for this guy will be almost completely neutralized by Kid's Badger, especially with Wolf buff. Now this guy going for double tier 3. Okay, so yeah, the kid might have a slightly better composition. Plus he's got the lizards as well, which are going to be pretty huge since Toads are banned. But this guy is a much better player. I don't want to be... I don't want that to sound like I'm disparaging the kid. It's just this guy is kind of spooky. Where'd those games go? There we go. Okay. Swap those over while people are ecoing up and tier 3ing. Kid has sold all his tier 1, which honestly I don't actually mind. Tier 1 is kind of irrelevant at this point, but he needs his wolf forward to buff these structures. Wolf buff structures can actually do quite a lot, but the wolf isn't on any of them. This guy just got his tier 3 out so much faster. Well, I mean, it's very important wire. What if the kid tries to sneak his lizards round through the back there? Okay, the kid's forward defenses go down, but he does have his owls up. Problem is, now the fox is out, and with all the squirrels here, kid has nothing that can put any pressure on this owl. He needs to pull his wolf back. No, too late. Wolf buffs foxes kill units very quickly, as you see them gun down 2 owls in a span of 5 seconds. Okay, kid has an unfortunate loss there. I liked his deck, but this guy was just so much faster at teching up. Now, who is the... We haven't gone to stage 3. Let's have a quick look at those rules. It is Daffy. Okay, so meals will be unplentiful. The challenger chooses which one of the two possible decks will be used. Both players have to use them. They're mirror decks. And if there is a second game, you have to use the other deck. So we've got Mole, Cam, Wire, or Lizard, Snake, Wolf, Machine Gun. I'm expecting... I mean, this is the deck I would choose, but I'm hoping Lucas will choose this one, because I want to see some classic this guy Mole play. Yeah, I'll have Lego Man Stage 1. Just give me all the replays you can or want or have. Alright, yes, we get the moles. Alright, Mole Cam Wire against Mole Cam Wire. I mean, Child managed to use the moles quite successfully. And moles can get interesting when both players have them. Okay, this is such a nice spot for moles here. For Daffy, but he hasn't even scouted it. Like, that's almost a perfect area. Up on the high ground, plenty of space behind your opponent's base. Like, that is almost perfect for hiding moles. Okay, so map-wise, there's these two easy mills, these two harder mills, but Daffy, all of his mills are on the front line. They're going to be pretty difficult to hold. Oh, I'm trying to go up to Cam first. No, you can't put the mole warren there. The mole warren needs to be further back. Okay. You probably also want to sell at least one, just so you can get the Cam building. But then again, I am one of the worst mole players in the world, so maybe I don't really know what I'm talking about. And this guy got his cams up because he went for 7 farms. So now he's just getting Raton distracted while his chameleon comes in the back. Okay, well, it's a cam for a farm. Not the devastating pincer maneuver this guy was probably hoping for, but actually he's in trouble now, because Daffy can just walk over, and this wire is going to last a fraction of a second. But he actually gets his 2 cams up again. How did he get... I guess one would have already been built in all the time it took for the cam to walk over. And I guess the other was already building. Huh. Somehow, Lucas held that a lot better than I was expecting him to. And now, Daffy trying to go for a 4th chameleon. His mole warrens are bursting. Oh dear, this is actually quite bad for Daffy here. This guy building all these mole warrens on the front lines. You kind of need to focus fire the moles here, I think. Like, because if you don't, then the moles can just suicide onto the mill and probably kill you. Okay, Daffy holds. The pigs. Pigs are hard countering moles. Holy crap. In the kingdom of clubs, the one damage pistol is king. Look at that pig just sniping a fucking mole there. Just gunning him down and going back to work. Absolute G. Oh, and look at how... That pig is a hero. He went down swinging. Almost single-handedly wiped out Daffy's entire army. Like, the rest of the army... The rest of this guy's army was just there to hold him back so that he could have some sort of a challenge. Now, this guy's army, possessed by the spirit of, what's a Russian name? I don't know many Russian names, so I'll just call him Peter, which actually is a Russian name. Peter the Pig. Anyway, possessed by the spirit of Peter. This guy pushes forward, but takes a massive loss. And I think this actually could be GG. Oh my god. This guy tried to expand. He's lost everything. Is this guy getting beaten in the mole matchup? The mole mirror meta. What is this? The Mole King has been dethroned. Unless he somehow pulls a win out from here. Which is pretty unlikely. But... yeah, that's a GG. That last attack. Without Peter's guidance. I mean... This guy's army just fell to pieces. Like, Peter was the absolute linchpin of that whole strategy. That whole army, yeah. You know, as soon as he died, everything went to shit. And that means this guy loses a life. And we switch to the other deck of Lizard, Snake, Wolf, Machine Gun. I mean, presumably they come from the same word. They have the same root. Alright. Let's see how this works. This guy with the 5-farm lizard? Nope. Well, Okay, map-wise, this is pretty Daffy favoured, it looks like. I mean, it's pretty hard. Lucas has to go over this water to get any third expansion, whereas Daffy just has to look at a mill and point at it, and it is going to be his. Yeah. Okay, this guy tries a forward expansion, but gonna get shut down pretty predictably. There's a hell of a storm going on outside. And Lucas is really under-armied here. Just because he's trying to expand here while trying to expand there, I guess. Well, he also, for some reason, took his army over the water. I'm kind of confused by this guy's play here. But, I mean, hopefully his greed will be able to redeem him. He is ahead in eco. Slightly behind in lizards right now, but... I think he should be able to hold. A couple of campfire shots. A couple of pig hits, some mill tanking. He does lose a pig. And he's forced to sell another. Okay, now because of these machine guns, Lucas can't just counter-attack. Is anyone going to do anything but mass lizard? Are we going to see any tier 2s or tier 3s? At least there's a cabin. There was a cabin. It's only one machine gun, but 5 lizards. I mean, that would be... They would get it, but Daffy would have enough time to reinforce. Okay, now Daffy going for his 3rd expansion, which is next to impossible for Lucas to get. Like, Lucas needed early advantage to really secure a 3rd base. I think that's probably why he tried to do a forward expansion here. But it was poorly thought out. Well, more poorly executed at the very least. Is Lucas going to try and take this mill? He doesn't even see that mill, so I doubt it. He does have the higher lizard count right now. Is he going to go in? He is. I don't think that's ideal. It's not what I'd recommend. He should win this. But, I mean, this forward machine gun is actually going to put in work because it's going to get up. And, I mean, Lucas actually loses without it. It's so hard to control lizards when they get to this level because, like, you can't see, like, they're just constantly running around looking for a place to stand, and there's just so much movement you can't really tell what's going on. Alright, Lucas struggling here against Daffy. Those early setbacks just snowballing. He'd probably like to go around over the water and try and attack from a different angle, but if he does, he leaves himself open to a base race, and he just surrenders out of the blue. How disappointing. But that is 2 lives lost for this guy. Well done, Daffy. Okay. Okay, so this guy looking a little shaky. Maybe he'll have better luck with epicosity. Alright, but now we move on to Lego Man round 1. And this might be the actual last game. We've got no, if there's any game Lucas is going to take seriously, it's the one against me. Plus he has, I think he's literally played more games against me than anyone else in the world. Like, he knows the matchup pretty well. Lucas is going to try hard against me. Mark my words. Okay. So, snake, skunk, fox, white against squirrel, skunk, owl, mine. I'm not saying I won't beat him. I'm just saying it's a riskier prospect than you're considering. Lizard skunk, not snake skunk. What did I say? Well, presumably I said snake skunk, but I should have said lizard skunk. Lizard skunk, fox, machine gun against squirrel, skunk, owl, mine. I mean, the two of us randoming each other, it'll be just like old times, Lucas. Okay, so Lego Man, I've just noticed, might struggle to get a second mill, since this is his favoured expansion, but Snake now has machine guns right outside it. And I'd like to see Snake pushing forward with these machine guns. Like, start setting them on the low ground now. Although I suppose the lizards could also just take 3 steps forward. That works as well. Okay, that's a quick owl. I was about to say, I was wondering if Lego Man was going to go for a quick tier 3 here, since it's pretty hard for him to go for go into the long game. I mean, yeah, the owl is already building, and the economy's even. Snake does have his skunks coming up. Is he going to put a tier 3 down? If he puts a tier 3 down, he's probably going to lose. Okay, that's another skunk. That's better. Really what he needs is the eco, though. Because Lego Man, alright, he's going to bring his units around here, come in away from the machine guns. Although, I suppose Snake at that point could maybe just walk in and base race. That's a second owl coming up. This is a bad move by Snake. A very, very slow trudge through the water to get one farm. That's not the best trade. Alright, here we go. Owl number 1 is up. The snake hasn't seen either of the owls. He had to know they were coming though. Once he saw the squirrels. So, knowing that, he probably should have been a lot more aggressive. Now he is pushing, but this push is going to stall pretty quickly. And since he hasn't got the tier 3, I imagine the counterattack will be pretty devastating. Although, it is looking like he'll get the mill. He's got most of the pigs already. Okay, Snake losing all his lizards. He seems to just be trying to keep Legoman on one base, which will eventually lead to the win, but he can't really... I mean, I've seen so many people go for the starve against an owl player, and it never works. Like, the last thing you want to give owl players is time. He also just lost so many lizards in that attack. And now Legoman finally has his own tier 2 up, his own skunks. And the mill is going to go down. That last mouse hit knocks it out. And Legoman will actually start starving out Snake, because Lego still has that campfire, which Snake never scouted. Snake never managed to get a scout in up here. And you know, all of that came, look at that drop in the army graph towards the end there, just before the 6-minute mark. I genuinely think if Snake hadn't attacked the mill there, he definitely would have had a better chance at holding. But he lost, I mean, he almost held anyway. He just lost so many lizards for absolutely no reason there. Like, he's playing alright, but he's making a few key decisions that just cost him the game. But that's something that will come with experience. And also the classic, you need to scout. You need to get those scouts in. You can't starve out an owl. Like that, trying to starve out an owl player was the wrong decision. It never works. Not unless you have an overwhelming advantage. And even then, it's pretty difficult. Am I going to bed? I'm not continuing the stream. Probably yes, actually. I am very tired. I slept, I had a 2-hour nap today, but I didn't sleep all of last night, or much of the time before. So I'm just gonna chill, and then go to bed. Maybe after I had one more beer. Alright, so unless Jen wants to send me a last minute game again, I think that is it. Alright, yep, that's it. No more replays for tonight. So, Tandoku, show the standings. Oh, let's have a quick look here. Okay, so these are the standings at the end of the first episode. We got Heartseed with 4 lives and 10 points. This guy, is that the Lithuanian flag? Really? This guy with 30 points and two lives, getting on stage 4. The child, 30 points and 4 lives, only on stage 3 though. But that's fine. Like, I mean, that means he's got a lot more opportunities to earn points. R22, 30 points, 4 lives. Same deal. Snake, with 25% win rate and 50 points. Melvin, Meek, Epicosity, and myself, all at 100 points. And Daffy with 200 and 100% win rate right now. Now, I think the way the points work for the bosses is we start with 100 and then we lose points. Whereas you guys, the challengers start at 0 and then gain. I should probably have... bosses scores based on 2 factors: their win rates and the percentage of challengers who manage to survive past that boss. 2 times win rate plus 100 minus percentage of challengers left. There's a lot of maths here. So Daffy gets 2 times win rate plus, which is 2 times 100. That's a 200 plus 100 minus the percentage of challenges left. Well, I guess there are no challengers who have survived past him yet. Well, I mean, this guy survived past him. Right? Yeah, sorry, the games have all gone. They're still alive. Lucas is still alive. I don't get that. I'm looking at it and it still doesn't make sense to me. Skipping a boss doesn't count as a boss. Okay, so challengers score by beating a boss without losing a life. 10 points multiplied by that boss's number. So it's 10 times 1 for Snake, 10 times 2 for Kid, etc, etc. When done by losing a single life, it's 5 points multiplied by the boss number. Skipping a boss doesn't give you any points. And then 5 points for each life left at the end. So theoretically you could keep all your lives. You'd go through 6 bosses. That'd be 10. Wait, where's the Kid here? Yeah, why isn't Kid on this? Be 10 for Snake, 20 for Kid, 30 for Daffy, 40 for Epicosity, 50 for me, 60 for Meek, 70 for Melvin. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 15, 21, 28. Okay, so the maximum possible score is 300. Win rate 0, score 0. It still says this win rate is score 0, but okay, so these are all the ones we've got left to do. Okay, so for round 1 we've still got Araloo, Hezzy, Haywards, Holfie, Horace, James, Cactus, Cater, Kerper, Leon, Lilith, Lupus, Marmu. What the fuck name is that? Nadruiz. That sounds like a fucking elder god. Nadruz. Night Slayer, Pigeon Rush, Sunstroke, Sensage, Tandorko, Tatanka, Sassy, Trashmaster, and Yistim. Whereas this guy currently moves on to face me next. We've got Chard and R2-2 to fight Epicosity. Heartsy, Collaru, Legoman, and Petrol all go on to Raton. But Petrol only has 2 lives. Everyone else... This guy and Petrol both have 2 lives. Everyone else is sitting at full health right now. Epicosity. Oh, yeah, he hasn't actually fought Epicosity. Okay, these are the ones that they've actually got to fight. Alright. I'm done. Okay. Predictions haven't been updated yet, but Gentleman has put himself first. I'm trying to get a good look at Gentleman's picture, but the more I zoom in, the smaller it gets. So if I zoom out, no. Okay, the picture's there. How come when I zoom in, it gets smaller? A riddle for the ages. I think I've shown now that I probably need to stop streaming and go to bed. See you tomorrow, possibly, maybe not. I'm very tired. Definitely see you Friday. Have a good night. Toodles.